And I am Zander, chosen Nolen, Zander channel. We're moving on with Critical Thinking, Chapter 12, a positive mindset. Positive thinking does produce positive outcomes, as well as negative thinking produces a negative outcome or a more of a scarcity, more of a survival type of an outcome. Some people today think positive results are just dictated and dependent on how much effort you put into something. And while attempt counts, how good of a result does one have if you believe miserably along the trip to this sort of result? Some people today think optimistic thinking is a cool thing, and that the fact is anything is supposed to be anything that is supposed to be will be. And while fate and destiny, etc., could be something to consider, you need to understand that your head, along with the energy that you give off, affects that fate. It's energy. And you simply have cynical individuals who constantly locate the bad in scenarios or play the devil's advocate way too much. That's their prerogative to do that, right? They don't feed it and keep away from them. You don't need that negative energy interfering with yours. Should you want more positive results in your life, you do need to believe positively, right? Positive thinking frees you and your path to a positive result. So 3 ways positive thinking leads one towards a positive consequence. Positive thinking boosts your confidence. I can do this, right? If you think positively, you believe positively about what's about to happen or about what you're about to do. You find the good in life and in people. You trust in your resources and people. This procedure builds confidence as you find the strength and goodness of your world and yourself. You're more inclined to take healthy risks rather than letting fear prevent you from enormous dreams and goals. You can trust in yourself and take jumps towards targets. You understand that if you reach a barrier, then you can hurdle, that you can hurdle, and those around you can help you get through it, which builds confidence. Confidence is everything you want to take risks, and dangers frequently result in positive results, such as, that thing called success. 2, positive thinking makes you view more resources. You'll find more resources. You have an open mind to do this or find this or have this person help you. Joyful and positive men and women see what they do have, which goes to their resources also. People who believe limitedly are cynical or don't find the positive in situations, frequently miss the resources which are appropriate around them. They frequently close their thoughts for their community and the people around them who wish to help. You will often hear the statement, "I constantly do everything," or "Why do I have to do everything around here?" This is a really strong black and white remark. This sort of thinking shuts down a great deal of amazingness that's right around them. "I'm the boss, you'll do it this way." Rather, the positive-minded individual examines the resources they have, even if they're restricted. They'll work harder to discover resources in the areas that may support them. Resources can assist you to get your momentum, to remain on your course, and also allow you to go around or go through those obstacles and those barriers. All things which will cause a positive result. And when you have that momentum going for yourself, the whole team will see that and think more positively. Now you are all driven in a positive mindset to have a positive goal to get to a positive conclusion. 3, positive thinking keeps you open-minded. So positive individuals have open minds. They listen to other people, not simply to give their 2 cents. This provides insight into what people need, what questions they ought to ask, and alternatively, their points of view. They attempt to view life through different viewpoints. By opening your mind, you see more replies, you see more chances, and you see more strategies to live your life more completely. More opportunities come up because you can see them. You don't dismiss them offhand. More insights and much more satisfaction create more positive results in your life, as well as your career or your work or your hobbies. So how do we develop this positive thinking? It's just in a calm and serene, that a calm and serene mind, that strong ideas and positive thoughts can take root. The benefit of inner peace is possible via the methods of draining the brain, substituting the feelings of anxiety, despise, insecurity, anger, guilt with this innovative and wholesome thought processes. Now, some will call that the higher vibrations. You need to focus not simply in mind, but also online language. Norman Vincent Peale, author of the Power of Positive Thinking, says, watch your manner of speech if you would like to develop a calm state of mind. It's crucial to remove from discussions all negative thoughts, for they have a tendency to generate tension and aggravation inwardly, end quote. So, and it also prevents other people in that meeting or conversation area. It prevents them from responding to those criticisms, to those negative thoughts. Nobody wants to respond to a negative thought because the individual that's in charge, that is speaking that negative thought, would take that as criticism, and we've already talked about that. A lot of people will take it wrongly because they have emotions involved. So when I'm speaking on emotions, really what I'm saying is stay out of the negative emotions. If you have an emotion of, overcome with love and joy, I would say that would probably benefit. If it's a really strong emotion, critical thinking will probably go out the window a bit. But you should be able to bring that one back a lot easier than you would such things such as anger or the lower vibrational emotions. So the lower vibrational emotions are 528 hertz or less, if you want to go with science, which is 528 hertz is the frequency of the heart chakra, or the love frequency. So, and an individual should also find some time in silent contemplation, considering nothing. This is called meditation or reflection, right? I would prefer the term meditation, or maybe even a guided meditation to get you to a specific goal. So picture your head as a smooth pond and allow there to be no ripples. Peale quotes Abraham Lincoln, right? So for Abraham Lincoln, says, folks were just about as happy as they may up their minds. Folks were just about as happy as they made up their minds to be. End quote. To demonstrate that pleasure is a decision. You get exactly what you pick. Happiness is a matter of habit. Go check out my book, Habituating Happiness, at Barnes & Noble. It's the condition you choose to maintain. An individual ought to talk to someone's unconscious mind. The methods and approaches taught by Peale to civilization, positive ideas are practical actions which may be embraced by anybody to address the problems, to eliminate anger and the other negative emotions, and drain out all of your malice and achieve the greatest self. The examples and techniques provided by Norman Vincent Peale are not anything new. We locate them in inherent doctrines in a number of the Eastern religions, and other self-help readings also. They offer much more or less the same prescription. We might temporarily invent Peale's thesis from the words, the head is a strong entity. It determines your personalities and customs that finally determine failure or success for you. But the mind is not independent of you. It absorbs exactly what you could feed it with. So feeding it with all of the negative ideas and doubts, failures and fears, and you may discover the mind-directed traits on your own. So now you feed it with all of the positive thoughts, and you'll find those characteristics within yourself. When you're armed with this knowledge, it's possible to effectively enable yourself by simply directing and suggesting that the thoughts of assurance, achievement, and accomplishment to your mind. And it goes back to the Native American adage of the two wolves, one of the fear and one of the love, or anger and love, whatever you want to call it, the negative emotions and the positive emotions. Which one is going to win in your mind? Well, it's going to be the one that you feed the most. So we want to feed the positive wolf and starve out the negative one. Nobody likes a negative person. We all wallow with those negative people, drawing ourselves down, right? And then we do things like drink alcohol, which is the depressant. In a scientific term, we can get into a whole nother video about alcohol, but we won't go there today. So it's quite true that positive thinking is universally recognized, going a very long way in personal advancement and achievement. Still, we cannot claim it is sometimes a panacea to all human evils. Human beings inherit specific traits, negative and positive, as a topic of hereditary determinism. A number of people are short-tempered and others are comparatively silent. You may ask how his examples and methods, even when implemented, almost alter those gene-led traits. Lombroso maintained that criminal traits are genetically determined, and also a criminal cannot help committing offenses in precisely the same fashion as a helpless person cannot help, or as a helpless person cannot help limping. Nevertheless, in a people, aberrant genes are insignificantly small in amount, so that many people can aspire to alter how we think, talk, act, and learn much better and more optimistic thoughts. Much of what we know by unconscious and subconscious influences continue to be in the world of scientific evaluation, so the manner and scope of the influences are not quite clear. Still, we have started to understand that anything we believe finally sinks to the degree of subconscious and continue to affect the conscious through thought behaviors. So positive thoughts and affirmations with emotion involved will feed our subconscious mind with positive thoughts. So you have these affirmations. They're not just words. You have to put a feeling to them. If you say, I am wealthy, well, how does that make you feel that you are wealthy? If you have a positive affirmation to say that you are joyful and happy, how does that feel, right? Because thoughts trigger emotions and emotions trigger thoughts. So now you have a positive feedback loop, right? When you think positively. But when you talk badly to yourself, is like, you suck, and why did I do that, right? That triggers an emotional response, which you're mostly addicted to because you're in a negative emotion, and that's what you're used to doing. You need that chemical fix. And then, of course, that's another negative thought feeling loop, right? So we need to switch that to the positive thoughts and affirmations, but we need to put the emotions in there because we're automatically triggered for the negative emotions to trigger the negative thoughts, and the negative thoughts to trigger the negative emotions, right? We just have to remove that negative word and put in the positive. There are times in your life that you laughed, that you felt safe, that you felt happy, that you felt joyful, that you felt love. Now, I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about love for a child, love for the mother, love for the father, right? You felt it a little bit. You just have to expand on it, okay? And you have to focus on that, because where attention goes, energy will flow. And that energy will create the thoughts, and the energy will help create the feelings. And now you have energy with the thoughts and feelings, and now you're going to exponentially raise that emotional loop. And that's what we need to do to pull ourselves out of the negative emotions quickly. But if you're 50 years old, it's not going to happen in a minute. It's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take a lot of time to undo all that negative damage that you have done to yourself through brainwash programming and such, right? But it's your responsibility to pull yourself out of that emotional state and get you into a better emotional state. You can check out Joe Dispenza or Psych K, Psychk online. You can do a search for those. Those will help you out. Or you could call me or send me a message on let's do some hypnosis. Now, while there's a broad understanding of the forces of positive thinking, and there are numerous theories derived from these, the differences remain in the way of their program. For example, nobody can steer you on for the number of hours if your thoughts are fed up with positive ideas or positive affirmations to cause a high or a particular outcome. Yet, it's not enough to understand that we should always try to believe positively and understand to become a complete optimist. People can indeed bring about more harmonious society when employers and workers and wives and husbands start doing positive experiments. This is not to deny that we cannot cease our retrenchments or we cannot cease divorces among wives and husbands from occupying with positive affirmations. It appears unlikely, but what caused those things in the beginning? What is the cause of the divorce? What is the cause of the resentment or retrenchments? While positive affirmations by wives and husbands will create them confidently in their viewpoint, it will not necessarily melt off the structural and societal problems which might be the underlying cause of that issue. Communication is important in any relationship, okay? Isn't it sufficient that we may create the gaps more sweet and more attractive? Nonetheless, there's sufficient evidence to suggest that techniques such as visualizations and hints add to a degree of assurance. Successful players have reported that they emotionally picture themselves winning. Successful orators have reported using autosuggestions to get over the anxiety of confronting a crowd. It's logical and plain. Every unconscious and conscious act we do follows the psychological commands. Success, to a large extent, is based upon the ability of the control. If somebody is reluctant and lacks confidence before performing a specific action, he or she will likely not take that action. The identical person, after finding the power of positive thinking, will gradually overcome this barrier, which was maintaining a success at bay, keeping it caged up. Why am I not successful? Because you do not take a chance. Change happens outside of your comfort zone. Success, therefore, is outside of your comfort zone. Or more success is outside of your comfort zone. I'm not saying go out to the stock market and invest your money in a bunch of stuff you have no clue about, right? That's not the stuff that I'm talking about. That's risk. That's not success. How positive thinking influences your mind. Positive thinking isn't any medical miracle. No quick fix pill, which eliminates all ailments instantly. However, in a short while, relatively, you're better. The identical notion is used in the placebo medication, as it is a thought. It causes your brain to have a solid belief that what will be all right if you're likely to get better shortly. So when you take a placebo, it's basically a sugar pill, but the doctor says that this is going to help you. If you do get better on the sugar pill, then it's all in your mind. Okay? But it's all in your mind anyway. We won't get into that. Go talk to Joe Dispenza about that. Now, here is the energy of positive ideas, right? The belief you will get better, and also alongside the actual outcomes or the suggested results from the so-called medication. This work hand in hand to get a positive outcome. There's been an evaluation after evaluations, research after experiment concerning the power of positive thinking on your recoveries. Most research has shown that positive ideas can accelerate a person's recovery. There was a scientific study done to observe how a person's mind can affect their health. It had been demonstrated that when people are worried or our capacity to fight off the illness or disease, the immune system of the human body becomes poorer. It doesn't work as well, right? It's not there to take the disease on head on, right? It's been criticized. It's been talked down to with your negative thoughts and emotions. But when that same individual transformed their ideas into a favorable nature, hence, reducing their depression, their anxiety, the immune system strengthens. Growing a positive thought procedure is the secret to inner workings. It is not so simple to do, particularly when we're constantly around negative individuals, constantly talking down to ourselves internally. But it is doable because you do it all the time. You just do it in a negative way. The positive outlook in life may enable you, inspire you, and even if your circumstances or situations are far from where everything you would like it to be, just be positive. Because if you go with the saying that God does not give you anything that he knows that you cannot handle, then he thinks you're a badass, and you just don't think so. You put the emotions aside, and then you look at the event objectively, use your critical thinking, and push through it. Right? You have already survived 100% of all the stuff that has happened to you in the past. That's where you're at right now. You survived. Maybe you didn't have the outcome you desired. Maybe you can go back and revisit them and see if you could find some sort of lesson in those. You may expect positive effects, even if it's simply on your soul. Guaranteed, using a positive adjustment for your own life, your life may soon change. In self-healing, by believing positive, I must also state that you still need to seek the support of a physician for that expert opinion and guidance once you're not really feeling well, because I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. But if you think that you need to see a doctor, then do so. Ask them the critical thinking questions. Do I need this medication? Because I didn't need it yesterday. Why are you prescribing this thing? Medication covers the symptoms. It does not do anything for a cure, in my opinion. But I am not a medical doctor, and there are some things that the body needs to be altered chemically through these medications in order to sort of get back on track. Okay? But the medications, in most cases, I have not seen one that actually cures the problem or the dis-ease of the body. Medical disclaimer. I am not trying to let you use positive thinking side by side with your existing. I'm telling you, you need to use positive thinking side by side with your existing therapy. and you can see yourself weaning yourself off of those medications. That's more positive result towards a cure rather than putting a Band-Aid on a sucking chest wound or continually staying with this medication until the day that you die. So if you're taking medication, continue to take your medication. I'm not advising you to take medications anymore, and everything you want to is this positive thinking, or the only thing you need is positively thinking about your condition, and but you're going to get far better, far faster, right? So use the positive thinking, continue with your medication, but keep up with your doctor, right? Oh, I'm feeling much better. Now, the doctor, he or she is going to acclaim that to the medication that you're taking, but you mentioned that you're doing positive thinking to your doctor so they can comprehend that, and maybe you can reduce the milligram amount of the medication that you are taking. A suggestion, not advice. If you're being treated and you're additionally at a negative thought process about your own life and conditions, you will surely get worse, telling the doctor this stuff don't work. On the flip side, if you're in an unfortunate state of event and you concentrate on positive thinking side by side with your therapy, then it'll seriously fortify your chances dramatically. If your ideas and your mind possess enormous power on your own body and lifestyle, okay? The body and mind, so when we're talking about the body, we're talking about the emotional body. We're talking about the mind. We're talking about your mental thought processes, your ideas. Or your ideas are separate from the mind, but we won't get into that too much here. They will reinforce your your feelings that are in your emotional body, and it will go back. We're going back to the power loop, right? The positive thinking loop of the emotional loop. Your emotions trigger your thoughts, and your thoughts trigger your feelings. Once you get into that loop, now the body's producing different chemicals that make you feel good, right? The body is producing chemicals that strengthen your immune system, that get rid of the disease rather than just covering up the symptoms, okay? So that's it for the positive mindset. I know that I'm dredging on, and there's a lot of stuff that you may not comprehend, so go back and review the chapters again if you need to. But you need to use this as a workbook. This is an idea book, but you need to do the suggestions that I'm putting out there. So we will be moving on to chapter 13, and that will be how to evaluate your own thinking.